Welcome back to another episode of the Mom and Me Astrology Podcast. My name is Kate Wind, and joining me is my mom, Mary Swick.
Good morning, Kate.
Good morning. Today we have a Feng Shui topic for you, and we are coming to you about the Wealth Gua, or the financial corner. It can be said a couple different ways.
Exactly.
But we're essentially talking about money,
prosperity,
wealth, prosperity,
stability,
and how you can create more of that in your life through some Feng Shui practices.
Absolutely. We haven't talked about this in quite some time.
Yeah, I think when some of the first episodes, we did a purse episode.
Oh, yes.
And we did a pantry episode.
Oh, you know what? Can I make a plug for that pantry episode? Yeah. I don't know which number it is off the top of my head. Yeah. But please, if you're interested in prosperity, go back and listen to the pantry. And I say that because...
did you upgrade your pantry?
I made upgrade my pantry. And again, I just switched the organizational system. And again, I had bins, and now I just went to putting the cans of everything out. Anyhow, it's just so much cleaner. I can see my inventory so much faster. Everything has a designated place, which it should anyhow. But the point is...
I agree. When I walked by family dinner last week, I did do a double take. So I was it just looks so clean and open.
It looks great. And a lot of things, again, went out that were expired. 2011 is my record, I think, 2011. I found a couple things from then. I
just saw a game on TikTok that said, go to your parents' house and find the most expired item that you can.
Well, that's I've had 5 years, 6 years, but 2011, that's 10 11 years. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyhow, so, and you know what? That just kicked off a series of changes. And again, I'll probably mention it again, but we're doing this flooring project, and the story kind of went sideways for a bit. And in the end, we're very, very, very happy. And it's cost us about $3,000 less than what the plan was.
You started that during Mercury retrograde.
I did. I'm embarrassed to say that. It was the day that Mercury was going to go direct, was the day they came to install.
Yeah.
So it was going to go direct at 10 p.m. and they came at, and then it didn't get done because of a series of events. Okay, but anyhow, that's live and learn.
Yeah.
Live and learn again and again and again. Always learning.
Yeah. So there is a pantry episode that talks about the financial benefits of having an organized and stocked pantry. Today we're going to focus on the financial corner in the house. So you might hear the term Bagua, which is the overlay of the home to decipher what area of the home means different things. So relationships, helpful people, health. So we're going to talk solely about financial today. So before we get into where the financial corner is, I think you wanted to start with a story.
Oh, you know what? I just wanted an inspirational story that makes us all think twice about what's going on in our home, because I don't know how many Feng Shui consultations between the two of us we've done.
Yeah, a lot.
But it is a lot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it's over 100, for sure.
Easily,
I don't know where we're at. I don't know if we're at 200 or wherever. But the point is, I never kept track. But the point was this. We always have said what's going on in the home is giving you clues. Mm-hmm. It's giving you clues as to what is going to be happening, more of what's going to be happening in your own life.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So, it's a very simple concept. So, I had a client, and this is the story, who traveled extensively. So she'd been in and out of Paris, I don't know, probably a dozen times.
Yeah.
Well, every time she went and she purchased from this particular artist who was known to hide a green apple in the painting. Okay. So these were generally smaller pieces of art. But anyhow, when I showed up with the client, her master suite, including the bathroom, was dominating the wealth area. And we'll talk about where that is in the home, but in a minute. So everywhere, so she was very proud that everywhere you looked, you saw this, this piece of art, very obviously many pieces of it. I'd say maybe she had a dozen of them. Okay. And she was so excited about there's a hidden apple in every picture here.
Well, thankfully she told you. Sometimes people don't say that, and so you're looking at the artwork thinking, what does this mean? What's the...
Yeah, the art wasn't, I personally didn't like, oh my God, this is so gorgeous or beautiful. It was rather simplistic. Mm-hmm. But the point is, okay, so she told me what the thing was. There's an apple. And of course, I looked at a few of them trying to find the apple.
Of course.
But, I'm standing there in her financial area, and I said, something about this doesn't feel quite right. Because I'm standing in your financial area, and you're talking to me about something being hidden.
Hidden stuff, yeah.
And almost a game. I try to find the apple, and I'm thinking to myself, that's like trying to find the money. Where's the money?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, now this was an affluent, upscale client, and she assured me, no, Mary, don't worry. She was very cute. Don't worry, Mary, I got plenty of money.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my story.
Yeah.
I don't have money issues. Until about 6 weeks later, she calls and says her husband walked out of the marriage and did it in a very kind of crazy way, but very face-to-face. Give him some credit. He said face-to-face, but he'd already packed up and left when she was out of the house. So she comes home. He says, by the way, I have moved out while you were gone, and da-da-da, and the relationship is over. Well, she was in shock, obviously. The kicker was, he was a lawyer. He'd been losing money for a long time.
Okay.
And
she didn't know.
She didn't know that he had been relying on her finances. She assumed they had separate finances. She thought he was, but she hadn't put two and two together yet.
Yeah.
And in the end, she owed him money. She had to pay him, what do you call it?
Alimony?
Alimony. Sort of palimony, whatever. Yeah, palimony, I guess it would be the word. Anyhow, she was just floored.
Wow.
Now, this was 6 weeks after I'd been there. And she assured me that plenty of money.
Right.
And we're talking about hidden apples in the dominating the financial area.
Deception is a great word. I mean, you said it even like a game.
Yes.
Right, but deception. And so I think that's that's an incredible story, but it's a great way of like showing, like, some people just dismiss, like, if you haven't had a feng shui consult, sometimes I'll just have people reply to like my stories on my social media or my podcast, and they'll be like, oh, mine's perfect, like, what can I do? And then they'll send me a picture of the area or something, and then it's like, okay, we have to like dive deep. We don't want you to just superficially look at something. We want you to tell the story of what the piece means to you, who you got it from,
who gave who gave it to you is sometimes a big thing.
What's the story behind the artist? Because we've had some pictures like that where the artist was having an affair and was painting secret messages into the artwork. And those stories were coming into play. So it's like the symbolism behind it, the meaning, and who all is associated with this piece of artwork.
Absolutely. And, there can be other issues, very basic issues like cleanliness, things that are broken, things that just get set there temporarily, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That stuff just happens.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not there pointing our fingers at you. We're saying, no.
We're just asking questions.
We're asking questions, and hopefully when you go to this financial area, which we'll lay out here now, that you look at things. And I would just encourage you, if it's possible, to pick things up one by one and look at them and, possibly reconsider.
Absolutely.
Is this something that should be sitting in your wealth area?
Right. So there are two different schools of feng shui. There's Eastern and there's Western.
Yes.
So one goes by a compass, so the direction, and some go based off of the front door. So the way that we are going to teach it is based off of the front door.
Yes.
This could be the front door of your house, of your apartment. If you are still living, in a roommate situation where you don't have the dominant control of the house and you're just in one room, stand at the front door of that one room.
Yes.
And while you're standing at the door, whatever your front door is, we want you to be looking into the space.
Yes.
And we want you to identify the farthest back left-hand corner.
Yes.
So when we say the farthest back, if you're looking at a traditional like square or rectangle.
Right. Yeah. Think of a square or rectangle.
Not the front corner by the front door. You want to go to the very back corner.
On the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just as a visual, think of yourself living in that rectangle or the square. Think of opening the door, and then just think of angling off to the left until you generally, if you're in a house, you're going to be at the two exterior walls of the house. So it could be a walk-in closet, could be a bathroom, could be the master, could be the kitchen. The point is, it could be any room.
Yeah.
But just go to the point where you're looking at the two exterior walls.
Correct.
And for many people, it's going to be a closet. I suspect.
Yeah.
Right, and that's okay.
Bathrooms.
Right. The point is, we just want to identify where is that wealth there. What is anchoring, so to speak, your sense of stability, prosperity in your life?
Yeah, and some houses, like the house that I'm in, doesn't actually have a back left-hand corner because it juts in.
Yes.
If that makes sense, because not all houses are that perfect square or rectangle.
Right.
And so if that is the case, we also want you to put a lot of focus on what is happening right outside, like where that corner would be,
right,
which is now outside because there's like a cutout in the house. I hope that makes sense, but
I hope it does. But I mean, anyway, for anyone, I want them to also look outside on that corner.
Correct.
Because I have a story that, we just had something dead removed off of that corner.
Mm-hmm.
Right after we did an enhancement to that back left corner, we moved a grandfather clock and put it into that corner. Yep. Kind of spontaneous.
Yep.
Idea, let's do this. And
based on the carpets, you had to move everything.
Yes, everything had to come up. So, okay, let's think about this. And then right that next week, then we finally got rid of the dead thing that was sitting right outside. Yeah. Anyhow, the point is, it's pretty amazing. The house is speaking. Yeah. I want you to think that the house is sending you clues. And this woman's story, as I said, she'd been collecting this art over years. Right. Not just she picked them up this summer on vacation and hung them. No, she'd been in and out probably over the course of 5-6 years that she had these multiple trips. So the problem was getting exponentially stronger and stronger.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I think maybe to your point is like some people will dismiss something because like, oh, that's been there for 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Nothing's happened.
Nothing's
happened. It's been good.
And sometimes like there's a building that's happening that maybe we don't know about, or maybe we've kind of put to the back burner because we haven't noticed the slow like growing or progress of that problem.
Yes. Yeah, well, we accept it as, accept it, or we don't even recognize it as a problem.
Yeah. So we've given some pretty big examples of like removing a dead tree, removing, expensive artwork, but this, even if that's just like a linen closet, right? Yes. Or something like going through the linen closet and getting rid of the linens that you never use, or they aren't soft, or they're itchy, or they have stains on them.
Right, exactly, classic.
Which
is messy, because those linen closets, I don't know about you, but I'm not good at folding linens.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten a little bit better, but TikToks help me.
Oh, TikTok. Really? Yeah. Oh, cute. Cute.
If it's just like if it's the kitchen and there's drawers that you can't open, if there's ones where the handles are loose, all of these little things can be addressed to enhance this area.
Right. I think also what is missing. I'm thinking sometimes like that could be a bathroom and you've always wanted another towel bar there, and you've never done it. Well, get that towel bar. That's what you need, right? And let's do that. So sometimes we're going to do that. And of course, leaky faucets, or, I say even if you've never vacuumed that corner, because many times we don't. We kind of hit the main part of the floor. We don't necessarily always move everything in the corner. Get it up and vacuum around it. I understand some people may have heavy pieces of furniture, but still we can go around the edge as well and get up all those little dust bunnies.
Yeah. So the first thing, we want you to assess the area. What's going on there? Who gave it to you? What's the story behind everything there? Is it stuff that you still use? Is it still relevant? Does it make you happy? Does it make you angry? First assess those things. Then we want you to...
You still love it.
Do you still love it, right? And then we want you to assess if there's anything missing or broken or dead in that area.
Yeah.
And those things seem so simple, but it's like all of those things that we named, like a broken drawer or missing towel bar, it's like every time you encounter that thing, right, it changes your mood, right? And then it can go into this spiral of some negative self-talk. I think, at least.
You know what? Over breakfast this morning, I was talking to Bill, and I said, "What has this new carpet done to your psyche?"
Okay.
In which I thought maybe he might just kind of blow me off a little bit, like, whoa. And he goes, yeah. He goes, it really has affected me. I said, what are you thinking like? And he goes, well, I'm just happier. Mm-hmm. I'm looking out at my life, and I'm feeling better about things. I'm looking at my carpet, I'm looking at the flooring, and I'm feeling better.
Yeah. Well, I said, flooring's your foundation, your stability.
It's the same thing, and just having this experience of picking up everything you own, pretty much, and having to redecide, is it coming back? That is a great exercise if you want to kill a week or two of your life.
Right. Yeah, but even something like a broken drawer, right? And you're trying to get into it, and whatever, you're cooking or something, and the water's boiling over, and you're trying to get like a spatula or something out of this broken drawer, and now you've changed like your mood. And so now your kid or your spouse comes into the room to ask a question, and you can fly off the handle.
Snap, yes.
Right? So that's where even the word feng shui aside, we're just talking about how the energy of the house like affects us.
Yeah, it's riveting stuff, and I have stood, I'm sure as you have as well, stood in sometimes looking just at the financial corner and having a 25-minute talk with a client over what we are looking at.
Right.
Sometimes I can think of a story where someone just had a lot of things, like there was a piano kind of in that area, and then they put some other small piece of furniture right there in the corner, and then there was another piece. It was just a tight little mashup of 3 major pieces of furniture. It was just so crowded.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing was the piano, of course, was really attractive. I said, just take away these other small things here and let's let the piano just stand.
Right.
Space, so that can sometimes be an issue.
Absolutely. So once you've done those first 2 steps, like now let's see what can we do to improve this area. So we can make the upgrades, of course, just like fixing things. But like what could we do for this area to enhance it?
Right. Yeah.
So we've talked about where it is. We're looking at the back left area. Again, if you have a 2-story house, you have 1 upstairs, you have 1 downstairs, and 1 outside.
Right. And again, I just want to go over that again just because some people might still be going, well, I'm not sure. I don't even know where my wealth area is again.
Okay.
But the idea is assuming, and this is really simple, if you're in a freestanding house and it faces the street and the front door faces the street, that's the simplest way. I mean, that's the easiest floor plan to talk about.
Yep.
Just follow that where you enter into the house and start angling off to the left. So you might have to enter into the foyer, go through the living room, maybe go into the kitchen, and from the kitchen I'm going to go into a laundry room. Oh, that's the back left corner.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So you may have to go through multiple rooms to get to that back left corner, but honor it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So some upgrades when we talk about the element for the financial area is wood.
Yes.
So you could put a nice, some wood frames, some nice sturdy wood furniture. But the idea is anytime that we talk about finances, most people want steady or sturdy financial situations. Right?
Well, let's go back and talk about wood.
Okay.
Why wood?
Okay.
Because it's growth.
Yep.
Growth. Wood, even though we've made it into a chair or a desk or something of that nature, it still is that essence of it came from a tree.
Yep.
And the tree grew up tall, so we have these nice long pieces of wood so we can build beautiful furniture. I mean, that's kind of the romance behind this ideology. Trees grow. So that's where we're looking for wood because, and this is a technical thing, the wealth area is technically young wood. Young wood that has not maxed out. Okay. It's not the old oak tree that's been there for 100 years now. No, this is the sapling who has great potential to become an incredibly big tree. So a young wood, so images of trees, a picture, an art, a drawing of a tree. Again, what we're trying to avoid is the winter scene of the tree, the desolate, the barren. Is it live?
Looks
is
like
it dead?
It's not going to make it. Yeah.
Or even the fall ones where the leaves are starting to fall off of it. Again, I'm not too keen on it. We really want to put the focus on spring, summer.
Yes.
Because the energy is rising up, and that's what we want our finances to do. We want to grow.
Yeah.
And this is not just bank accounts, right?
No, absolutely not. I think most people, when you say like financial or money, they just assume like cash flow or income, which we talk about that really in another area of the home, but this is like long-term stability. Yeah. So that's the element. So you can incorporate some sort of wood or imagery of wood into that area. We didn't put it in our notes, but if we were talking about colors in this area, we want a very royal look in this area, right? Because we associate royalty with long-term wealth and stability.
Yes, right.
So you think about like the reds, the royal blues, golds, greens. So you can incorporate those colors. If you have a very soft corner with, just like whites or light blues or pastel pinks, you might think about moving something a little bit more, again, sturdy into that area, not something so soft when it comes to color palette.
Yeah. What color is one way. Some people just like going with the color treatment. Sure. Purple would be the ideal color, right? That would be a color associated with kind of royalty, but also amethyst, nice piece of amethyst that you might have, right? Sitting in that area to set the intention, it kind of grounds the area with a little bit more weight, and also the idea of the richness to come.
Oh yeah, you brought up a good thing about weight. Because sometimes I'll see little tables in that area, and they have like the 3 little legs, and it just looks like you can just knock it over. Yes. That's just one example, but like lots of dainty things in that area, because again, we're trying to show fragile. Yeah.
Furniture that you can buy in a big box store. Mm-hmm. Beware.
Yeah, for that
because
area.
There are oftentimes pieces that are literally at some point in time, you can see that you're going to drag it out to the curb and sell it at a garage sale, right, or give it away to somebody else. Whereas you're not going to do that with a more solid piece of furniture. I mean, you may, correct, but I mean, it won't happen as quickly.
Yeah.
So and I think you know what we're talking about. It's just kind of
like
those
your IKEA maybe stuff.
Yeah, some of the IKEA definitely, but anything that you might buy just throw it in your shopping cart and hit the register.
Right.
That's questionable.
If this is an area of your home that you don't use for some reason, maybe it's like the spare bedroom and you don't have a roommate, or I don't know, there's could be a whole bunch of reasons why you don't use a space. Yeah. One, if you can use it, or if you have an in-home office, this would be a great place to
be a fantastic area to set up a little workspace. Also, if it's a dormant room, there's sometimes a tendency people close the door.
Right.
And again, particularly people with pets. They've got a dilemma going on, because sometimes they're trying to keep the cats off the bed, so they keep the doors closed. That just is a whole nother principle, but we want exchange of air going back and forth. So we generally open doors, with the exception of the bathrooms, of course, but open doors so that chi or energy can flow. So that would be something very simply that someone might say, oh my God, I keep that door closed all the time.
Right.
Or that's my teenage kids, and they always keep their door closed.
I know.
Right. So we understand there's some practical problems here.
So if you're not using it at all, it could be something where you put a plant in that area, so you have to go to that area and water the plant.
That's a great one.
Or you put something that shows movement in that area. Mm-hmm. So we could talk about like a crystal hanging from the ceiling that's, again, reflecting the light and kind of bringing movement to that area, or imagery of stuff that moves. Mm-hmm. So I'm not talking about a print that has movement, but something that when you look at it, it's not just a stagnant building. Exactly. You can assume that the picture in the image, that if it was alive,
think of someone on a bicycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You visualize it moving. It's in motion.
Yeah. Maybe a counter thing to someone who is having trouble holding on to their money might want to do something more like a picture of a building to create more stability.
You know what? Yes. The stories, when we're doing consultations, we try to cater them to this specific storyline.
Correct.
So what I might say to one person, I might not say is the best for somebody else. But we're trying to cover the bases here. Yes, if you're really in flux and really vulnerable at this point, then we're looking to a little more weight. Mm-hmm. We're looking for some more sense of stability. I think your simple thing of a plant, a real plant, and that you have to go in and tend to.
Yeah.
Because why? You're tending to your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and to go back to like your point earlier about like the house sends us clues. Like let's say you've had a plant there. I have a great story. I think I've told this story already before along the way, but right before I quit my corporate job, I threw a baby shower. So my notice was in. My notice was in at work, and I threw a baby shower at the house. And at the end of the night, there was a bunch of half-drinking water bottles. Right. And so one of the moms at the party was opening all the water bottles and going over and feeding my plants throughout the house. Well, the one plant had taken on too much weight of water. Oh. And the stand that it was on collapsed. Oh, now, it was a metal stand.
Yes, I know that, yeah.
And it was anchoring my financial corner.
Yeah.
So you think like a metal stand, like how did this break?
Yes,
It wasn't the water. I'm like, it was a clue, right? Yeah. So the metal stand breaks, and then the plant falls over, of course, and it was a mess. It was a mess. So it had to be replanted, and I had to get a new stand. And I remember telling you about that, and you saying, well, Kate, of course that had to happen because you're in the process of restructuring your finances. So like I remember then thinking, okay, I need to be very intentional with the stand that I'm going to buy.
Right.
And the new pot that I'm going to put it in, because I don't want to like set myself up for
another fall
essentially.
Yeah.
So, it works both ways. Sometimes we see the clues in the house.
Avoid the word precarious.
Yeah.
Don't put anything in there that in the wealth area that you think is precarious. Like, this is my very expensive crystal something or other, and now it's sitting out in the open, and it could, someone could bump it accidentally, obviously. Yeah. So precarious is not a good word in the financially. But yeah, you know what? I don't remember you telling that story before. So that's a great story.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to, is that wild, the timing of it?
Because I had been in this house for 4 years. The plant was fine.
You were apprehensive. Obviously, you were confident. I remember that. You were uber confident about giving that notice. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
But there had to be a part of you going like, how is this going to work financially?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then you had the collapse of the pot.
Right.
It almost was, I think we viewed it as like it was a go-ahead. You're going.
Yeah.
It's happening.
But yeah, your finances are changing.
You're changing, exactly.
Yeah. So one last thing about the financial area would...
Well, that's okay. I want to put one more in there. Maybe you're going to say the same thing.
About the collections?
No, I was going to throw the classic one, the bamboo.
Oh, yeah.
Bamboo in water. I still go back to that. It's 101 Feng Shui. Get some curly bamboo or the straight bamboo. Put it in water. A nice cylinder vase of some sort, and set it in that area. Even if you're, so to speak, a non-believer, subscriber to Feng Shui, put something like that in there. It sustains itself. You just have to make sure you have to put some extra water in every 2 weeks probably.
Right.
That's about all you have to do, and it thrives, even if you don't have the best sunlight. So I wanted to throw that one because that's a classic thing. Or some people like the laughing Buddha.
Yeah.
The big jolly Buddha with a big belly, so to speak, coins at his feet. Yeah. Again, a real traditional Feng Shui cure.
When you mentioned the bamboo, I think one thing that we hadn't mentioned is like make sure that like not everything's sitting on the floor in that area.
Oh,
like if you have a lot of like short furniture or you have a lot of stuff near the floor, like how can you raise the energy? So something like the bamboo that you're talking about, especially if you get like the 2-foot or even the 3-foot bamboo, it adds a lot of height to that area, which it makes the person look up, right? And so it's sending the energy up instead of looking down. Mm-hmm. So again, if you have a lot of short furniture in that area or you have a lot of knickknacks sitting on the ground, put some shelves up, put some artwork up that draws the eye
tip
to the ceiling area. Do we want to talk about the collections?
Well, I do think we need to talk about collections because collections, I have noticed over time that people that have collections, when you walk in, it's kind of a visual cue of wealth.
Right.
Right? Even if it's something like matchbooks or, something very mundane, just having a lot of them, it makes a statement.
Right.
And I don't know how to say this tactfully, but I find sometimes people, maybe in lieu of maybe other types of wealth, they get their good feeling, optimistic feeling about the future by having another something added to their collection.
Oh, yeah.
So it is
kind of prosperous.
Prosperous.
I have, like I'm thinking about Dad, like I have like 12 like Russian wood carved Santas.
Yes.
In my financial area, I have a collection, actually. It's like one of the only collections that I still have. And it's these brooches that you and I, enamel flower brooches that we used to collect from like antique stores.
Right. Before eBay.
And I probably have about 24 of them, and they're like inlaid into a piece of furniture that I have. And it's just interesting because I've had them for so long, I kind of forget about it, but every time people come to the house, it's always like a stopping point where people are saying, what are these? Oh, tell me the story behind them. Like, because it just looks like it's worth so much more than maybe the $20 or $30, $40 that we paid for them individually.
Yes, exactly. So multiples of anything, number one, are calming.
Yep.
And that's why sometimes when you see a triptych, 3 paintings that go together, or 4 of something, 'cause there's a sense of abundance. So again, that's just a small, don't forget the wealth area, but you can create little vignettes throughout your house of collections of, and again, I'm not saying go out and start 5 new collections, but I'm saying if you already have something, nothing wrong with it, unless
there's extremes.
There's extremes. So. We can't go to extremes on this. We don't have time to go into that topic.
Yep.
But there is some visual wealth that is easily portrayed by collections.
So before you kind of tie in this whole talk today, I want to just share that if you've had your house feng shuied before, if you say, oh yeah, I heard you talk about this 2 years ago and I looked at my financial corner, I was fine.
Oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah. We still encourage you to go back.
Oh yes.
And keep reassessing, because sometimes we're attracted to a piece of artwork because I just went through a breakup and I'm at the store and I see a woman crying and I really relate to that picture, right? And so I buy it because at the time it's resonating, that energy, because that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And so you go home and you hang it up on the wall, and then like 2 years later, do we still resonate with that? Like absolutely meant something to you at that time, but we constantly need to reassess what's going on because our financial situation is always changing.
Always
right?
evolving.
Life is always
and 2
evolving.
years is way too long to wait between times to go check your house out.
Right, because maybe you got a new animal or something, and now the animal's using that as like a personal bathroom, or
we didn't even get into that stuff.
But I'm just throwing more examples.
We've both had clients that way. That this is the dog chooses. This is where he goes.
Yeah,
So
there's constant things changing in the house. Adult children moving back in, all the things. So with that said, let's go back to that Apple story that you opened
let's
up
just
with.
wrap it up. Let's touch back on that Apple story. I mean, I have a tendency, I get lost in the romanticism of this whole idea that, this client we spoke about, she subconsciously, met the artist on the streets of Paris, loved the art, went back to her multiple times over a course of years, buying the art. Is it possible that her subconscious was trying to wake her up on some level about, she's always talking about something hidden, and she knew where they were going to go. She knew she was putting it in her wealth gua. She didn't know it that. She called it her master bedroom.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
We come in and say, oh, this is your wealth gua.
Right.
So she didn't understand that point. But the point was, is it possible that her subconscious was trying to wake her up to what was really going on in her very affluent, upscale lifestyle?
Right.
And Mom and Me Astrology say yes. Yes. That's absolutely what's going on. Listen to those messages.
Or again, was she attracted to it because it was
happening?
It was happening.
It was happening in her life.
She was compatible
so therefore,
with the energy.
You read it subconsciously. This is probably what's going on in my relationship, and therefore you match it, and then it's called homeopathy.
Yep.
Right. It puts you in balance somehow.
Yep.
Temporarily, until it all comes crashing down.
Absolutely. So check out your financial areas this week. Feel free to submit stories on what you changed, what happened when you made the changes.
I'd like to think that it has to be how many great stories.
Oh, there's so many.
People today that are listening to this, and they will say, "Oh my God, I looked upon closer look. This is what I saw. This is what I found.
Yep.
But this is how I now feel."
Yep. So we hope that you have fun looking at your financial area this week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Take care.